بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيت الأطهار الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has given us another opportunity to live within this holy month of Ramadan, and to be able also to learn once again in continuous to our discussion that we had last year about the meaning and understanding that we get to learn from beautiful dua Makarimul Akhlaq by our fourth Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. For those who want, they can go and check the YouTube that's already there from last year, if they have not seen the previous episodes and previous session. We will inshallah continue where we left off last year. The segment starts with asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something that is very, very important within our life. We say in this dua, وَأَلْبِسْنِي زِينَةَ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي بَسْطِ الْعَادِلِ. O Allah, clothe me with the ornaments of the God-fearing people through spreading justice. Within this beautiful segment, Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam is telling us that God-fearing people, pious people, muttaqeen, they have ornaments. For us, within our daily life, we have different ornaments. We have jewelries that we wear. We have clothes. A muttaqi, a pious individual, his ornament is spreading justice. And within the next couple of nights, Imam will start talking about 12 ornaments for a pious individual that he and she should have on throughout his and her entire life. Spreading justice is the first ornament, first beauty that a pious individual can wear. Spreading justice. Different kind of justice exists within our world. Social justice, political justice, economical justice, family and relationship justice, which is our main concern. Part of our akhlaq is spreading justice. Our discussion is on justice within our characteristics, within our akhlaq. How can we be just? And what does it mean to be just? Moderation and fairness in every aspect of our life and within everyone. It's called justice. When we are moderate, we are fair with people. We are fair with ourselves. Sometimes we are fair with ourselves, but we are not fair with our family. Sometimes we are fair with people on the streets and with our co-worker and classmate and people, strange people, we are fair to them. But when it comes with our own family, our own relatives, we are not fair. We are not just. For example, when it comes to giving charity, donation, spending for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, justice also is needed. We read in Surah Al-Furqan, chapter 25, verse 67, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَنفَقُوا لَمْ يُسْرِفُوا وَلَمْ يَقْتَرُوا وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قَوَامًا. Allah says, even when you pay for the sake of God, when you're paying charity, you have to be just also. You have to be fair also. Allah says in this verse, those who when spending are neither wasteful, extravagant, nor tight-fisted. And moderation lies between these two extremes. You've seen always, we've talked and we've heard about spending for the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Paying charity, paying donation, helping the needy individual. But even with this act, which is very, very much needed and has a lot of blessing and reward, justice and fairness also is required. That they are nor wasteful, nor tight-fisted. That they hold on very tight, nor they give everything for the sake of God and they don't have anything for themselves. There should be a moderation between. Within every aspect of our life, as we said, justice is needed. And we have both extreme. Alaykum as-salam. For example, let's go and see our day-to-day life. Prayers. Salah. That is, amud deen is the pillar of deen, is salah. We cannot be extreme within salah and spend all of our day praying. That is not what Islam wants from us. And we have stories within the life of Ahlul Bayt that people came to, I believe Rasulullah, one of the Ahlul Bayt, that they said that we have a person that is praying in the mountain all day and all night. Rasulullah asked them, who provides for them? The brother said, I provide. Rasulullah said, your job gets more reward than him, than his own act. Even though he is praying, which is amud deen, salah, getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is extreme. Alaykum as-salam. Prayer, we have both extreme. Some people don't pray at all, and some people, they want to be really, really religious, and they pray all day long. Everything for them is about prayer. No. There is a moderation. There is a point in between that we have to pray, and then we have to go with our day-to-day life and activities. Love and hate that we have for one another. We see some people, they love something or an individual that they become completely blind, because that is the narration from Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. قال رسول الله حبك للشيء يعمي ويصم. When you love something unconditionally to death, that makes you blind and also makes you mute. We see stories within the newlywed couple or boys and girls falling in love with one another. They don't see anything negative about one another because they have fell in complete unconditional love. They don't say anything else. Parents, classmates, relatives tell them, well, this person has these negative attitudes, these negative characteristics. They don't see it. They have become completely blind. Extreme love on one side. And then when we hate someone, hate again extreme, that we don't see anything good in them anymore. The same couple that the first month or two, they were in love so much with one another that they didn't see any negative about one another. Something happened, and the next thing, and the third thing, after when they come for divorce, they don't see any beauty in one another anymore. It's all negative. I knew it from day one, you were such and such. I knew. Well, how do you know? You were in love first, for the first 3 months. You didn't take it rationally. And you didn't find a point in between that it's neither love to the outmost and hate to the outmost. It needs justice. It needs fairness between love and hate. Work and laziness. We see some community member, none of us inshallah, workaholic. If they had 36 hours within a day, they would have worked 36 hours within a day. Forget about 24 hours. And you have some people that barely you have to drag them to go and work for their 5, 6, 7 hours that they have to work. Why we are not fair even when it comes to work? 8 hours work that we have to do, a little bit extra, it's okay. But time for Allah, time for the family, time for myself. We go again, there is both extreme. And you see, justice and fairness comes into every aspect of our life. Education. You see some of the youth, they have put so much emphasis on education that they have forgot themselves, forgot Allah, forgot the family, forgot the religion, forgot everything. And you have on the other extreme, some of the youth that they are not educated at all and they don't want to study at all. Why again, both extreme? No, in the middle. Marry and study. I still have not been able to find how people think that marrying will prevent them from studying. I really don't understand how they think. And where does this idea came from that if you get married, you cannot study anymore? Education, because as soon as I say, أَنْكَحْتُكَ نَفْسِي, that's it, no more education. I don't understand it. We have a lot of families, a lot of people that are young and they are, alaykum assalam, they are studying and they are married and they have kids. So education. And you don't see them in the masjid, you don't see them in the month of Ramadan, you don't see them in the month of Muharram, you don't see them Dua Kumail, you don't see them at all. Why? Sheikh, education. Exam, paper. Okay, why again, both extreme? We can study and at the same time have time for the family, at the same time work. It can be managed. This world and hereafter. Again, both extreme. Some people, they want to be completely for hereafter. Their life in this dunya is a miserable life. They don't work. They don't take shower because they say, muttaqi, you don't have to shower. And they don't trim their beard. And Shaykh, taqwa, zuhd, piety. I say you want to become more zahid than muttaqi than Rasulullah, than Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, that they look the best. They had the best cologne on. But we see piety as something that you don't have to do anything with this world. Forget about world, forget about this dunya, forget about cars, and probably if they can take a bike to work, they will do it so they don't have to spend money. No. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. That verse should teach us that we should work for this dunya and for akhirah. When we work in this dunya, we don't work for the sake of dunya. I want to have a happy life, a good, comfortable life, that I can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I can study. And then you have some people that they work in this dunya that there is no akhirah at all. They have dedicated their life so hard to this dunya that there is no hereafter. Again, justice is needed. Wife and husband relationship. You see some wife and husband, the way that they show love to one another in one extreme. And then you have wife and husband relationship on the other extreme that they cannot bear one another, but they're living together because they're afraid of their reputation. They don't want to get divorced because of the husband is afraid that he's going to lose half of his life to this divorce, and whatever reason it is. Why can we have moderation within our love for one another and a relationship? Within one household, you see the man is the king of the house. Within another house, you see woman is the queen of the house, and she says whatever it is, and he as a slave has to stand by the door, and he has to respect. In another house, king comes into the house, everybody's afraid, everybody's scared. That the king, Pharaoh, walked into the house, you have to be afraid. Why? Why don't we have family that both men and women, husband and wife, they come together, mutually they want to have this family going forward and getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where is the problem? Let's focus a little bit on this family and then we continue. As a family, as a wife and a husband, why we still have problems within our life? Some of us. Why there still problem exist? Or we know of people that they have problem within their life. The reason why and how we can solve it, it's by knowing one another's right and knowing our own rights. The same Imam that has given us dua, Makarimul Akhlaq, has left us also with a legacy, a beautiful legacy, that non-Muslims are appreciating this legacy more than Muslims. It's called 51 Right, Risalatul Huquq, by our fourth Imam, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. He tells us the rights and responsibility of wife and husband, individual. If I know my own rights and responsibility as a husband, if I know my rights and responsibility as a wife, as a child, as a parent, as a kid, as a community member, If I know my rights and responsibility, I will act upon it, and I will respect and appreciate someone else's rights and responsibility. But due to the ignorance that we have put the Risalat al-Huquq, it's a beautiful book, make sure it's good in the library, that people come to my house, wow, mashallah, you have Risalat al-Huquq. But as far as reading it, Sheikh, no time. That Risalat al-Huquq teaches our rights and responsibility. When we learn it, we respect it, we get to know of it, and we will practice it. But when we are ignorant, I think, because I've seen within my household, within my parents, for example, 50 years ago, when my father came inside a house, everybody was afraid. Well, this is the way I have to run the house. My father used to come in the house, sit, me and my brother and my sister, we were serving him, and my mom also was serving him, and he was who he was. This is what I have learned. I haven't learned from the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam that man should be helping his wife within the household. That Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam was the one who was helping his wife within his household. So where do we get to know these justice and fairness within families? It's when we go to the teachings of Quran and Ahlul Bayt. That's where we need justice. Within school, we study all of the theorists when it comes to different aspects of the life, what they think is just and fair, but we forget that Allah says in Surah Al-Hadid, chapter 57, verse 25, لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعْهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ. Certainly, we sent our apostles with manifest proofs, and we sent down with them the book and the balance so that mankind may maintain justice. Where does this teaching for justice come from? It must be divine. Economical justice, political justice, social justice, family justice. Where should it come from? It should come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Ahlul Bayt. Why not from these theorists? What is theory? We have X, Y, Z theory about how the social life should be up and running. We study those. In university we learn it. But we forget to come and study what Islam has an idea for us. Is that a theory that can be proven, that can be falsified? No, Islamic teaching is definitely the right teaching. They call it theory because it's falsifiable. Marx comes with his own idea, and then another theorist comes and then he proves him wrong. Then another theorist comes and proves him wrong, and on and on and on. But Islam, why this divine concept, divine justice, it's good for us. Why? Because when it comes to people such as Marx, such as all of these theorists, when they come with a theory about social life, they are only thinking and focusing about this world. Because they don't have any clue about hereafter. They don't know of it. So when they come up with a theory, how can a human being survive in this world? It's their main concern. How can we bring justice to people in this world? This becomes their main concern, only this world. And when they are studying only a certain period, a place, specific place, and certain group of people that they have their study about. But when it comes to the religion of Islam, to the teachings of Ahlul Bayt specifically, it's not only about this dunya. It's about dunya and akhirah. Because they know of hereafter. They know what kind of justice is needed. Their teaching is not only for specific people at a specific location for a specific period of time. Rather, the teachings of Islam, the social justice that Islam brings, and it educates its follower, it's from the time that it was brought all the way to the day of Qiyamah. It doesn't change. It's the same thing again and again. People come and go. Still, these studyings, these teachings stay fresh as day one. But we go and we study all of these theorists, and we forget that we have 14 infallible, that they brought the best of theories, best of teachings, best valuable teachings for you and I to go with our social life. Why can't we come with that kind of justice and fairness? Because we have two enemies. Satan, external Satan, and our nafs. Shaitan is with us. Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi states, إن الشيطان ليجري من ابن آدم مجرى الدم وقال ما منكم من أحد إلا وله شيطان. Rasulullah says, Shaitan, it's in your vein. It goes through your vein. How the blood circulates in your vein, that's how Shaitan is in you and is circulating in you. And every one of you guys have a Shaitan. Every one of us, we have Shaitan with us. So when I want to be just, and I want to come up with an application for social justice, I have that Shaitan and I have my nafs. These two won't allow me to be just on my own if I don't know what is justice and fairness. That is why we need, again, divine justice. And spreading that divine justice. Why we are in need of divine justice? Because again, it's a theory that is proven to be right and it is doable and is not falsifiable, and it works for the betterment of the society in this world and hereafter. But unfortunately, us Muslims, we have not done it so far. I'm reading a book about mindfulness. The beginning of the book introduces the idea of mindfulness, and it says that religion, majority of the religions are promoting mindfulness, and the peak of the religion that promotes mindfulness within its own followers is Buddhism. I wrote next to it, completely wrong. Islam is the highest. Because mindfulness, the book itself argues that mindfulness has two aspects. One is when you sit, two ways to do it. One is when you sit, you focus, or you close your eyes, you try to live this moment, be present. Another kind of mindfulness is when you, for example, you are reading a book, you are mindful. You're praying, you are mindful. You're cooking food, you are mindful. You're driving, you are mindful. You are living every minute of your life, which the book argues that the second method is the best method of mindfulness. You live your life. Right now, when we are sitting here, we are mindful of our presence, our breathing. We are here. We are observing all of these teachings from the words of Ahlul Bayt and the verses of Quran, which Ahlul Bayt taught us all about mindfulness. That when you do your salah, salah is all about mindfulness. Fasting is about to bring our mind back again. Not to be, when we eat, there is a teachings about it. For every aspect of our life, there is a teaching. So if we get to know of these teachings, we apply, we are mindful of our life. But Buddhism and Buddhists apply mindfulness and Muslims don't. So if I go to the author and tell him Islam is, he's like, okay, show me Muslims that are mindful. Mindful of their living, mindful of their environment, mindful of their family, mindful of their kids, mindful of their day-to-day actions. I don't have anything to prove. But he goes and he argues against me. He's like, look at Buddhism. And Buddhists, how much they are emphasizing on mindfulness. So justice and fairness should be within every one of us in every aspect. Why? Because our Imam, the first Imam, is being given the title by a Christian author, George Jardaq, in his famous book, Ali, the Voice of Human Justice. That this Christian individual, George Jardaq, which he's still alive in Lebanon, he said, I read Nahjul Balagha 12 times from cover to cover to come out with this beautiful book, The Voice of Human Justice. One of the best books written about Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Let's have salawat by the name of Allah. Why? Because when he reads the life of Imam Ali from the perspective of to see how he was just, he gets to this story of the life of Imam Ali alayhi salam with his brother Aqil. We know the famous story. It's good for us to remind ourselves. When Aqil comes to Imam Ali alayhi salam and asks for more from Baytul Mal, from the treasury of Muslims. It's a famous story. All of us, we know of it. But how many of us, we brought that justice to our day-to-day life? In every aspect that we have. We talked in a couple of minutes ago. Aqil comes, he's blind. He's blind. He comes, he asks more from Baytul Mal, from the treasury of Muslim. He tells him, I have a lot of kids and I have a lot of debt and I'm in need more. Thinking that Ali ibn Abi Talib is his brother and he will give him more. Imam brings that iron stick, put him in the fire, completely hot. And he brings it near the hand and the face of Aqil. He's like, okay, can you touch this? He's like, what are you doing? He's like, if you cannot bear this heat, how can I bear the heat of hereafter? And he doesn't give him. He's like, let's wait for the end of the month. When I get my share from Baytul Mal, I can give you from my own, not from Baytul Mal. And when I was preparing today's lecture and stories about the life of Imam, how he was just your Imam and my Imam. That when his name comes, we praise and our blood flows through our hearts with the love of him. But that's not enough. His love should come into our day-to-day action. How? With us being just with ourselves. Us being just with one another, with community member, with the non-Muslims. Being just and fair. That there are arguments based on the verse that we read, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent prophets. لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانِ. Scholars argue that one of the main reasons why Allah sent prophets and messengers and books and imams with them, it was to bring justice. This was their main mission. And where is justice? With the Muslim community. Where is justice and fairness within our Muslim families? Between parents and kids. Why we have so many problems everywhere I go that parents come and complain about their youth? Because it's not fairness. There is no justice between parents and kids. Or between parents, each other, between them, amongst themselves. Justice. Imam Ali alayhi salam, let's have salawat by his name. He states, Al-adlu ra'sul iman. Justice is the head of iman, belief. I consider myself a believer. I can go and analyze my own personality, my own characteristic. Am I just individual or not? Based on the justice and fairness that I apply in my day-to-day life, I am believer. Verbally saying I'm a believer, but I'm not fair and just with myself, with my family, with my wife and husband and children and community member. I can just call myself a believer, but in action, I'm not. And we see this justice of the Imam was what the cause for him being killed. Because people start hating him because of his justice. They didn't like it. When he took the government, these are the stories that we should know. We should read it and tell people, when we talk about Sharia law, we're talking about the justice of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. We're talking about justice and fairness, that when he came, he said, I don't care how much money you have given from the previous khulafa that they were given. For me, Muhajir, Ansar, new convert, new Muslim, all equal. Abd, Mawla, all equal. Everybody gets 3 dirham or dinar. That's it. Even me, as the Khalifa, I also get 3 dirham or dinar. That's it. We always hear these stories and we move on by it, not learning the lesson of it, that justice and fairness is the main object of these stories. And we have been ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we read Quran, when we get to Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 135, let us read Quran. And when we are reading starting today or tomorrow, every day, let us think of some of the verses that we read. Chapter 4, verse 135. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kunu qawwamina bil qist. O you who believe, stand out firmly for justice. Which is the first ornament as of a pious individual, is to spread justice. Not to only be just. No, spread justice. Educating one another about justice. Action plan comes. I know we have given a book to read, but add to the books that we have to read. Take notes of these titles and the authors and make sure we have to read them. It is our responsibility this day and age that every eyes within these Western countries are on Muslims. We have to stand out and say that we Shia Muslims, the lovers of Ahlul Bayt, we believe in justice and fairness. Where do we learn it from? I met a congressman about a month ago. It's a progress that we have started an initiative to meet all the congressmen and introduce them to the words of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Every week or 2 weeks we meet one of the congressmen. It's like 15-20 minutes away from our center, the Capitol building. We met and we take to them Quran, Nahj al-Balagha, and Rasalat al-Huquq of Imam Zain al-Abidin, and Sahif al-Sajjadi, all in English. We take him and we start reading. And we start educating them about who we are, where we are within the community, and what we are doing. I gave him the books, and I saw it genuinely that they are appreciating the books. You know, sometimes people say, thank you so much, thanks for the gift, I really like it. But sometimes you feel it, that they're genuinely appreciating the gift that you have given them. I felt from both of them that we went through different times, that they're genuinely appreciating the materials of the book, that when we were there and they were just looking at it, the second congressman, when he opened the Risalat al-Huquq, he's like, it's a smaller book, he opened it. The first line that came to him, that's the right and responsibility that we have toward everybody, that everybody's right is respected. I was like, this is what you believe? I said, of course. This is what we believe, that everyone's right. It doesn't say every Muslim, every believer, everyone's right is respected. And it was during a time that there was an incident in London with a person named Khalid. He told me, what do you think? I told him, for us, it's clear. We're not surprised a person by the name of Khalid will do such an act. Not that every Khalid is bad, no. But the person, when he acts something and his name is Khalid, we can guess and we can assume where he learned and who he was his role model. And I told him the story of Khalid ibn Walid and Malik ibn Nuwayra, a famous story, what Khalid ibn Walid did. And I told him that this is the story, the history that we have. And for us Shia, and I started talking about Imam Ali alayhi salam, and the story of Imam Ali alayhi salam with that Christian beggar, story of Imam Ali alayhi salam with his own daughter, story of Imam Ali alayhi salam with his own brother, with his own family, with his own constituents. And what he wrote to all of his governor, how should you deal with the Muslim and the non-Muslims? With dhimmi, with kafir, how should you treat them? I told him, this is where we stand. Us Shia Muslim, and we keep emphasizing to them. And I told the brother that we were going, that when we go there, we're not going to tell them we're Muslim. We're going to tell them we are Shia Muslim, and this is our teachings. This is our role models. Imam Hussein being just, with even his enemy, he's just and fair. Because when he meets his enemy, fairness is what to do to other, what you like people to do to you. He feels that his enemy is thirsty. I would like for someone to give me water. I'm going to give him water, even though he's my enemy. Fairness and justice and kindness. So we read the segment again. وَأَلْبِسْنِي زِينَةَ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي بَسْطِ الْعَادِلِ. O Allah, clothe me with the ornament of the God-fearing through spreading justice. So the book that I was about to tell you to read, inshallah you can read after Ramadan, because we're going to have the book of Makarimul Akhlaq that inshallah we'll read, and we will explain about it inshallah more in detail, and you will get the email. I know there's some confusion about it. It's the voice of Ali, the voice of human justice by George Jardaq. It's a very thick book. It's in English. You can buy it on Amazon. I believe the PDF you can download. I'm not sure. After Ramadan, and when you're done with the book of Makarimul Akhlaq, read what a Christian individual, how he sees Ali ibn Abi Talib. And when we read these lines and these pages and these chapters, we can go around and be proud of ourselves to be the followers of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let's have another loud salawat. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All of us together is the afternoon of Friday, is a time of istajabah, of da'at, and inshallah Allah will grant us our need, and the most important need that we should have is for Allah to hasten the reappearance of our beloved Imam. So all of us together facing the Qibla inshallah, we read Dua al-Faraj. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kulli waliyika al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan salawatuka alayhi wa ala abaihi fi hadhihi as-sa'a wa fi kulli sa'a وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. صلوات. No.